Good evening and welcome back to DXB Today. Thank you so much for joining us, where tonight we are talking about wellness in the new year and the different things we can do. We already talked about nutrition, and of course, a big part of wellness is fitness. And right now, we are very happy to tell you that our next guest is not only the founder of Roar Gyms, but also an Olympian. And we welcome to the show Sarah Lindsay. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
So good to see you. Let me know what you've been doing over the past year in the fitness space.
Oh wow, I mean, we've been working on Roar, obviously, and looking at expansion, which is exciting here in UAE. And actually, just last week, we launched our online training, so that's kept me very, very busy the last few weeks.
Amazing. And you know, an Olympian, long career in the fitness industry, absolutely killing it with Roar Gyms. Do you have anything that this year, 2025, has taught you, or anything that fitness has taught you in 2025?
Well, I mean, I'm a veteran, right? I've been doing this a very long time now, but I think a reminder actually this year was, if we're looking back, was that it doesn't matter if you take a break. You know, even with everything that I know, still, if you're into a forced break because of travel or injury or sickness or something, you have this panic that it's all going to go wrong and you're not going to be able to get back to the level that you were at. But actually, you have to get reminded of this every now and again, but actually this year I took a couple of breaks and it's fine. Nothing happens, you know, but I think fitness helps regulate your emotion. So I think when you take that away, then, you know, maybe I'll become a little more unhinged.
Yeah, a little antsy.
Well, I can definitely relate because, you know, I took a couple of breaks as well this year and I've actually come back stronger, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to push the same weight that I did. And is there science behind that for taking a break? And
well, sometimes you need that. You need that recovery, and then potentially you've got some super compensation from actually having some rest, really recovering, resetting your goals. But if you think of an athlete, obviously my background is sport, but if you think of an athlete's yearly plan or 4-yearly Olympic plan, at the end of every season you have a rest. You know, everybody takes maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks of complete rest, and these are people that do it for their job. So you do need it sometimes. You need to reset, you need to let yourself properly recover. It's not just about more and more and more. Your training should be periodized over the year.
And what advice would you give for someone that has some, you know, big New Year's resolutions? They, you know, January 1st, they're going to be first ones into the gym. What advice do you have for people that are setting fitness as their goal for next year?
Well, it's great to be motivated. And January, I think, is one of these times where it's just a natural reset, isn't it? It's a time where you get to sort of reassess what you've done, what you want the next year to look like. I mean, I think the first bit of advice is to start now. You don't wait for January, because that December period and the Christmas period, you feel dreadful. You know, you eat so much, you do nothing, you look yourself away, you spend all this time with family, which is lovely, but then January hits and you feel really bad, and it's a difficult time to actually start. So if you can, start now.
But see, here's what I think, right? Sometimes I've noticed it with humans in general, they love feeling the guilt because that's going to push them. So I've seen this a lot with my clients. December, they'll just be like, I want a break. And then in Jan, they're so motivated, which again fizzles out. And I think you're right. Like, we need to obviously take a step back and think about our resolutions in a better way. But I have a different question for you. What I want to ask you is, how do you manage it all? Like, how do you manage your own fitness regime along with handling a business? What are the strategies that you use?
Well, it's always been part of my life, so I think for me it's very natural to prioritize it, but ultimately that is what we need to do. We need to prioritize our health. There's nothing more important. So it has to be something that you think about, you have goals around, you know, you need to think about it every day, and it should be a part of your everyday life, and it doesn't have to be this huge all or nothing thing all the time.
I'm just a little bit curious, because we've been talking about New Year coming, right? And we're saying how some people shouldn't wait until the New Year. We should start now. But some people kind of wait for it because it gives them a reason to reset. Now, speaking of reset, like say, for example, what if New Year was far away and you just plateau and you just lost motivation? How would you advise someone to actually reset?
Well, I mean, don't expect to be motivated, for one. You're not going to be motivated every day. I'm certainly not. I am not somebody that waits, and you think that I would be, but I don't wake up and think, yes, I can't wait to train. I'm not one of those people that loves the feeling of working out while I'm doing it. I don't like being hot and sweaty and out of breath and tired or feel sick. I don't like that either. I'd rather be at the spa, believe me.
You could have fooled us.
I like what it gives me, and I like how it makes me feel. So like I said before, you know, I prioritize it. It's just, It's important. We deserve to feel good, and you should look after your health over everything.
Sarah, something I fully believe is that one of the most important things you can do when it comes to fitness is strength training and building those muscles. And I'm trying to tell this to my wife, it's very important for women in particular to start strength training and lifting weights. But I want to hear it from you. Why is it so important that women specifically start lifting weights?
Well, when you're strong, firstly, you can create more intensity. So you can train hard. So the stronger you are, the more intensity you can create and the more effect your body will have. So that's really important. I mean, it's hugely empowering to be physically strong. Of course, gives you a lot of confidence, physical confidence, which crosses over into every other area of your life. When you know you can physically do anything, what on earth is stopping you?
Absolutely.
But then when you think of long term, and obviously having more muscle means your metabolism is higher, so you're going to burn more calories at rest, which means you can eat. If you can eat, then you can get more nutrients in, which is obviously hugely important. We need to be able to eat enough to get all your essential nutrients in.
I always tell my clients, you know, gaining muscle is like natural Botox. Like, it just lifts everything up. But I mean, this is Dubai, and you know.
But it's the best anti-aging
Yes,
thing that's
it
very
is.
underutilized.
No, but I think some women are just afraid to look masculine and bulky.
I'm
right?
trying to look
requires-
bulky, and it's not that as easy as you think.
No, but look at bulky and masculine, that requires a lot of effort. And
Right.
most of us are not able to do that. You have to eat really well, you have to lift very heavy. I'm sure you,
You
know
have
this
to. I've been
already,
trying to
yes.
be bulky for a very, very long time.
It's
It
very
doesn't
hard.
happen. You've got to be
Yeah.
able to eat. You have to really be able to eat. You need to be sleeping really well. You need to be able to lift really heavy. Not get stronger, but you have to already be strong. I use a set of norms actually. If you think, just say a guy wants to build pecs, so he wants to grow a chest. If he's pressing 10 kilo dumbbells, it won't happen. If he can press 30 kilos, he's got a good chance. And if he's pressing the 40s, he's probably already got pecs. So
Yeah.
you're not going to get bigger muscly by curling 5 kilos. It takes time.
You're not going to turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger
No,
overnight.
you won't wake up in the morning and go, oh my God, what happened? I'm huge.
Well, I'm glad we're on this topic because I need some advice. So I'm in the gym 3 times a week with my personal trainer,
great.
right? But like as I mentioned earlier, when I'm so busy, I just forget to eat. And so although I'm in the gym, but I'm not getting enough sleep and I'm not able to eat enough, what advice can you give me? Because I just struggle with stuffing my face the whole day. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, so then your returns are going to be diminished. You can work really hard in the gym, but especially if your post-workout nutrition isn't there. So if there's one thing that you can introduce is your post-workout food. Just organize it. Just that one thing will make a massive, massive difference to your results. So post-workout, whatever it is that you need to eat or consume, make sure that you're organized with that one meal. That will make a big difference.
And what's the window for women comparing to men for how quickly you should eat or how long after the gym you should eat?
Well, I think this has been up in the air for quite a long time now. You've probably got a better answer than me. I just think as soon as you can. I think that as soon as you can take on the protein and carbs to help you recover, the better, ultimately. Don't think, well, I didn't make that 20 minutes, so I won't bother. You just have to get it in whenever you can, if it's ready to go. And I'm not a fan of synthetic foods necessarily, but there is a place, I think, for liquid nutrition post-workout because you can get it in and digest it easy enough.
Yeah.
So even if it's that, even if it's a post-workout shake with a bit of carbs in there.
Amazing. Rashi, any nutritional advice on that front?
Actually, again, because I was hearing your question, I think it's a bit of a cortisol issue. And I would really encourage you to like find ways to regulate your nervous system.
Yeah.
If you're able to do that, your recovery is going to be better.
Okay.
You will remember to eat because you'll feel like eating. Look, it's not a good thing if you don't feel like eating. That's your body telling you something, right? And that's generally a high cortisol issue. So you'll feel nervousness, you'll feel anxious, you'll feel the burnout. So I would in fact like flip it and be like, do you need to do rigorous workouts?
Yeah.
Now I love getting people to do a stress index test to test their cortisol, but that's sometimes expensive. So when I hear things like this, I'm like, maybe, I'm not saying don't work out, I'm a big fan of working out and I think it's so important, and especially weight training. But sometimes I tell my clients who are really burnt out to like slow down and go for a walk or perform at 70% of their capacity, 60%.
Well, that brings us on to a question. If you could go back at the very beginning of your training journey, what things would you have done differently? And what do you think people who now just want to start getting into their fitness journey, any advice for them to stay consistent once you get started?
Well, a big mistake I made as an athlete, actually, and obviously the information we have moves on, right? So I've been retired quite a long time now. But one of the mistakes that I made was that I was taking on a lot of dairy. So it was being used by my nutrition team as a low-fat protein source post-training. And I was training, 3 sessions a day sometimes, 2 always, sometimes 3. And so I was having 2 or 3 pints of milk a day. And I'd been allergic to milk since I was a child, since baby age. And I'd sort of outgrown this allergy and it become a slight intolerance. But as long as I recovered, and performance was all that mattered, and health didn't at all. And we didn't prioritize our health. We were very unhealthy back then with everything that we were putting our bodies through. It wasn't good for you. We were performing at the highest level, but we weren't very healthy. And I think I would prioritize my health far more. And I think that would have served me much better in the long run.
And it just makes you feel good, which means you're probably going to stay more consistent.
I know. It's a shame when I look back and I think, damn, that's kind of a big one. But yeah.
I could tell Rashi's itching to jump in.
No, I'm so glad you said this, because just because someone is performing beautifully and has the abs and looks the part doesn't mean that they are, at peace with their food. And again, the dairy, it's such a big piece. Like, constantly it's causing low-grade inflammation, right? And so many women benefit by just giving it up for a while and then seeing how to readjust it. So I'm just so happy you brought that up.
Well, I suffered terrible skin. For example, my whole teens and 20s, my skin was really, really problematic. And I was very conscious of it, and I didn't want to talk to people, and it affected my confidence in a massive way, which still, I think, affected my performance. And it was within 3 weeks of retiring and stopping dairy that it was completely clear.
Yeah. Wow.
And I was like, I've gone all these years feeling really bad about myself when it could have been fixed. So
Nutrition once again.